Welcome to Season 5 of She Ventures. I am your host, Doria Lavanino. She Ventures is a podcast about women and their work and life pivots. I believe in the power of storytelling. I also believe that if you change one woman's life, you start to change a family or a community. Our mission is to elevate the diverse stories of everyday women in their work. One promise, no mansplaining ever. Sit back, listen, and hit subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. You can find us at sheventurespodcast.com. This exotic fruit business began almost 30 years ago when her Cuban-American father sold exotic and tropical produce from the back of his truck in Miami to neighbors who sought these kinds of staples. But they really weren't easy to find in supermarkets. Fast forward to today, she's vice president of their family-owned produce company called Desiree, and it has grown to a full-fledged business that is national, and I would imagine probably international, though I'm not sure. She will let us know about that. In 2019, she clenched an opportunity to expand the family business and founded Tropical Fruit Box, where you can go to her site, order fruits that I have never heard of. They look delicious, however, and have them delivered right to your door. She founded it and is CEO of that company. Welcoming her today to She Ventures, Desiree Morales. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Doria. Thank you for having me on.
It is a pleasure. I must say that this was educational for me. I learned a lot about fruit. I had no idea that I was missing out on so much. One of the things that I loved about your origin story is so many people these days are disillusioned with the American dream and say, it can't happen anymore. Yet my father lived the American dream, and your father did too. What do you think made him successful?
My father, he would have been successful no matter what industry he would go in. He's a person that will survive, and he will make the best out of anything, really. And that is exactly what he did. He found a need that customers were coming to Miami wanting to eat these tropical fruits and exotic fruits that he grew up in Cuba eating all the time. And he saw the need. So he figured out a way to bring it into the United States, not from Cuba, but from other countries, also growing it here in Florida as well. And he just tapped into the local supermarkets here, starting in Miami, off to Florida, up the East Coast. Now we're West Coast. I mean, we're pretty much everywhere our fruit is, our brand is. He just tapped into a need. And I think a lot of times it's seeing what people need, creating a service for it.
So he saw that need, he was hungry, and one of the things I really do notice among immigrants and first-generation entrepreneurs is that go-gettedness that I think I have second-generation daughters, so I can say this, it softens over time. They have different, I'm not saying that they don't have struggles, they do have struggles, but they're different. Has that been your experience as well?
It has. It's a little different in the sense my dad had the need. So he had to get here and survive, figure out what he was going to do. Okay. That is not my need. Thank God. We were very fortunate in our upbringing and everything. And we didn't have, our need is very different than their need was coming into a new country. But to me, my challenge was just getting the company to today's age. So finding sort of a different need. So I say I'm kind of like my father back then. I am also tapping into a different need, the need of today. So things are delivered to people's doors, and not everything is easily accessible in rural countries of rural cities and as it is in Miami or in metropolitan cities. A lot of what we sell, like let's say our tropical avocado, which is our number one.
I was going to ask, what's your number one top seller?
That is our number one seller. Also, there's an avocado craze, right? The smaller avocado, and then you need the tropical avocado, which is the larger one. You find that in every metropolitan city. But if you go to a tiny town, that local market or that supermarket probably won't carry the tropical avocado. They'll have the other avocado, the smaller one, the Hass.
Yes, that's the one I'm familiar with.
In most cities, it's the Hass, but you don't always have both. I just saw the need of people really like their tropical avocados and people want them no matter where they are. Maybe they used to live in Miami and now they're living somewhere else. Or they're coming from Puerto Rico and that's the only avocado that you have there. You don't really have small avocado.
That's what they know. Was there an expectation when you were growing up that you would enter the family business?
Not really. My brother's a doctor, so he didn't go into the family business. My cousin is in the family business, but not really. Our parents, they really let us do whatever we wanted to do. We had to study, we had to get an education, but they wanted us to really do what we would like to do. Whatever our calling and passion was in life, they wanted us to do it.
When did you know that your passion was going to be stepping into the shoes that you did, which was helping with your family business and really growing, right, to an executive role? How did you start? What role did you start at?
I've been filing papers, unloading containers, building up pallets, taking orders, calling each customer one by one. I've really done it all. My summers were always at the warehouse, in the office. My dad, I was lucky in that he would always take me on his trips overseas so that I would meet the farmers and meet where all our fruit comes from. He still is very big on that. I mean, this comes from somebody that is growing this fruit for us. They care a lot about it. They're the experts on it. Let them educate you, me, all of us here, how to eat this particular fruit. How does it grow? When do we pick it? He's very big on that. And he always says that you're only as good as your suppliers are.
I was going to say, people talk so much about relational sales. And it seems like your father intuitively knew how important it is to have a good relationship with your suppliers. And you've continued that on as well. And that makes so much sense.
Yes. And we're happy to say that most of the suppliers that started with him 40 years ago are our same supplier now.
Incredible. And so it's in Central South America. Where else do you grow?
Dominican, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico as well.
You've gotten to go to all these beautiful places.
Yes, I have. Thank God.
There was no expectation. It sounds like you started in high school or whenever you could start working, right? And you learned really everything that there was to do. And so you can come at the business knowing all of it. And I love what you said about bringing the business to 2023, which is really an e-commerce driven model. Do you think your father would have embraced that on his own had you not been there?
No, definitely.
No way.
He's ready to retire.
Yeah, I can understand that. What was the inspiration behind Tropical Fruit Box? When did you have this moment where you're like, yes, I want to do this. I want to take on, we have the suppliers, we have the structure set up. We just need to now get it to consumers and advertise. How did that all come about?
Funny enough, I was working a convention, a produce show, and I was speaking to a buyer's wife. And she was telling me she was Puerto Rican. She wasn't American born. And she grew up in the islands. And she was saying how she couldn't find tropical avocados where she lived. I mean, we spoke and I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll send you some so you can have some samples and all of this. But when I left there, I was like, I can't believe it. She's here. Her husband does this for a living. He buys containers of tropical avocados and ships them all over the US, and she can't easily find them where she lives. It kind of made me think. I was wrapping my head around that idea and I was like, we need to get this to people because just like her, there's a lot of people just like that. Because you hear these stories all the time, maybe not with that fruit, maybe with another fruit. Lychees, Florida, tropical mangoes, Francine mango. that's very easy to get. I mean, we're fortunate in Miami that we live in a tropical climate. So even if it's not at your grocery store, your neighbor might have it. They might have a tree that grows lychees.
Would you say that your market is primarily Spanish, people of Spanish origin?
I wouldn't say our market is primarily.
So it's all people. It's people that are just curious about fruit.
Not only curious, we have a lot of Asians. It's like Asian fruit. It's specialty fruit. It's not just a Spanish background. I would say it's a multicultural background. So it's all over.
And that goes to my ignorance about this because I really, truly don't know.
Right. I would say it's Spanish, island, American as well. I mean, it's really, we live in a melting pot, and I see it firsthand. I see it.
Yeah.
There's just a need to try different things. And then there's also a need that they would always have it at home, and now they don't have it easily accessible.
That was the need that you were trying to, or that you have succeeded in reaching. And how was it starting the company? What were the barriers to entry, if any?
There were a lot of barriers.
Were there? Tell us about them.
Something we just have to overcome. For instance, shipping out of South Florida is a challenge within itself. Anything that's perishable, shipping it out of here is difficult. You need a liner, you need ice packs, you need certain transit days. Sometimes you need refrigerated trucks, depending on what produce it is, depending where it goes, what's the length of transit. I think a lot of our struggles were packaging struggles.
Logistical.
My background is container loads. So it is a refrigerated truck that takes something from point A to point B. Now, going direct to consumer, you're thinking you need something to take one box all over. It is as controlled as a refrigerated truck. That's one stop, one drop, let's say.
And I would imagine that online, you don't know what kind of orders are going to be coming in at any given time. So there's so much variability in that. How do you handle that?
You still don't know. You have to have inventory, which that's what we do. You still don't know. Things go up and down, and commodities go up and down. It could be something that went viral on TikTok, not having to do anything with you. Everyone's ordering pink pineapple.
Was that true for you? Did they see it on TikTok? Did something like that happen?
Yes, things like that do happen.
Was it pink pineapple?
Yes, pink pineapple. We do get a lot of orders of pink pineapples, especially now for Valentine's Day. We get a lot of pink pineapple orders. Instead of flowers, they do pink pineapple. And we didn't know that the first year we started. So 2 years ago, we didn't think that
to market it,
to gift it as a Valentine's Day gift. And now look at that. It's a Valentine's Day gift.
So each year you're learning more about how to market it and what to market when. What role did the pandemic play in your business? How did it affect your business?
Well, for us, it propelled our business, the online tropical fruit box business. And I say that because we were ready to go right before the pandemic hit. Although we were challenged with our packaging and how we were going to get it directly to consumers from our warehouse, we had it all set. So we had boxes in inventory, we had liners, we had ice packs, because during the pandemic, there was a huge supply chain shortage on almost anything, especially packaging and cardboard boxes.
Yes.
The fruit we had, it was the packaging. And thank God we had it, and we were ready to go. I mean,
in a way, obviously the idea is good, but it was also a teeny bit of like being at the right place at the right time. And I hate to say that about a pandemic.
It was. We were able to gather so many customers because now customers are looking online to buy food. They weren't before. And that behavior is a behavior that I truly believe has changed. I think people will always buy online things that they would have never bought online before, such as produce. I mean, I was one that I couldn't buy my meat online, and I wouldn't buy things that are even ice cream. You can buy ice cream online.
It's so incredible that you mentioned this, and I hadn't really thought about this, but you're right. I noticed in New York, I live in New York, there is a company called Fresh Direct, and they deliver all your groceries, and it was very novel at the time it came out. And then, to your point, Instacart, all of them just start springing up one after the other. And I'm thinking about my younger daughter, or my older daughter rather, who's 18. She asked for a Postmates subscription for her 18th birthday. And that is exactly it. People want food when they want it on their terms.
Yes.
And it's such a great point that the pandemic really did change our behaviors in terms of eating.
Yes. And even older generations. We have people taking orders on the phone because there's also an older generation that maybe they're not ordering online, but they want to be calling and having someone take their order because they still want to receive their fresh fruits and vegetables to their house.
That is so true. It reminds me of my own mother, who's 88, and she lives by herself. She really is fiercely independent. Like, she does not want me to bring groceries because I have offered. Just want to say that to the world. But without Instacart or the other things that she uses, she wouldn't have been able to live independently as long as she has. There are so many benefits, I think.
Right. There's a lot of benefit. And again, I think it's behavior that is going to stay with us.
I agree. There's too much money in it now, right? I went on your website. Of course, I always like to see. And I saw fruits that I have never heard of, seen. They were so beautiful also. And I'm like, gosh, I don't even know if I would want to eat it. It's so beautiful looking. So, okay, I hope I pronounced them correctly. Durian?
Yes.
Is that a popular one?
That is popular, but it's very seasonal. Extremely seasonal. It's flown in from Thailand, and it's very limited and very seasonal.
The other one that caught my eye was rambutan.
Rambutan, yes.
Rambutan. See, I knew I would say it wrong.
Airy lychee. So you just peel off the skin, and it's sweet, like lychee.
What is your favorite exotic fruit?
I would say the tropical avocado.
Tropical avocado? Now I'm curious. I have to go look at one because I want to see how much bigger they are than the normal ones.
They're big. They're bigger than a softball.
That is big. That's serious avocado. All right. So because you are shipping or receiving fruits from places far away, right, there's an expense to that. And I noticed that they're not inexpensive, your boxes, right? Are they mostly for gifts, or is it for people that just can afford to do that? Because like $100 for a box of fruit, that's a lot for some people.
Right. It's a lot, but you also get 16 pounds of fruit.
Oh, good point.
Which is a lot.
How does it stay fresh?
It stays fresh. Tropical fruit, you can just, most of our fruit, you take it out of the box and you can extend the shelf life by putting it in the refrigerator, or you can just leave it on the counter. I like leaving it on the counter so it ripens naturally, but it does last at least a week. But you have to have a big family for 16 pounds of tropical fruit. You know, it's not just apples or bananas. It's fruit that 16 pounds of the smaller fruit because they're relatively small.
Can people mix and match?
Absolutely. So our number one box is online is the custom tropical fruit that you get to choose which fruits you want in your box.
Do you have something that is a subscription offering? I know a lot of people do that.
We do.
What does that look like?
We have a lot of subscribers to cacao, our cacao fruit that people make their chocolate.
Cool. Yeah, I read actually you have so many good reviews, and
yes,
I was reading they get cacao and they use it with their children.
Yes, they love it. They love it. It takes a while to take the cacao. It's a process that takes a week, but that's our number one subscription box.
It makes sense, too, to do it with children because we live in a society, I know I do, living in New York, where we're so disassociated from where our food comes from, whether it be animals or fruit or chocolate, right? So to actually have your children understand this is where this comes from is a great learning lesson.
Right. It comes from the seed inside a fruit. Like, it's crazy.
So do you give instructions with that box of how to do it?
We do.
Okay. That's a good thing because I would not know. If you were not working for your family business, what do you think you would have done for a living?
That's a tough one. What would I have done? I think I would still be in the fruit business somehow.
Cool. So you love what you do that much.
I do. Maybe I would be making smoothies or I don't know,
right?
but
Yeah.
something around fruit and food. Definitely food.
What would you say are 3 things that you have aced and 3 things that you wish you had done differently in building any part of your business? It doesn't have to necessarily be the most recent. It's my hardest question, I promise.
Okay.
And they don't actually have to be business related. They can also be personal. I just want to add that.
Well, I've aced. You see, but I guess, it's funny. I don't think I've aced anything. Everything could get better.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I'm trying to ace, and I'm like, everything could get better.
Okay. What are 3 things that you're satisfied with that you did, you feel that you executed well? How about that?
Okay, things that I've executed well, I think going online and shipping our fruit was definitely, I think it's something that I really did well.
What platform do you use? Do you use like Shopify or how?
Shopify.
Cool.
And from when we started, and we still do.
And you like it. I love asking.
Yeah, we love it.
Good execution on the online business.
Yes. Another great execution is my family life, my husband, my 3 kids, my school life as well. I'm always in my children's school volunteering where I can. And to me, that's always number 1.
So that work-life balance is something that you've been able to achieve.
Yes. Always trying to get better at it.
Aren't we all?
But I think it's something that I'm constantly working at it.
How old are your children?
12, 10, and 7.
They'll get more and more independent.
I don't know. My 12-year-old is not that independent.
Yeah, my 18-year-old also isn't, but you'll be surprised. One day you wake up, they're a different person.
Bring the little kid back.
Some days I do want that, yes. Some days.
Yes.
So family life, and then what is one other thing that you're happy with how it turned out?
I think making the decision to work with my father. It's the best decision I did.
How do you guys resolve disagreements?
We're almost the same person. So
you don't have any?
We think we have disagreements, but one will always bend. If we see that the other one is going to be very stubborn and not bend, the other one will bend. And we know.
That's good. Because some people really can't work with their family. Like the idea of it would make them run the other direction.
Like I think my brother and I, if we had to work together, we're so opposite. We're similar, very opposite. I don't think we would be able to work together.
What are 3 things that are lessons learned, which I feel that are almost oftentimes more important because we learn so much from things that we wish we had done differently?
Number 1 lesson learned, especially with this, is I had the idea of Tropical Fruit Box. I'm happy we launched it when we did because timing is sometimes everything. If we would have launched this pre-pandemic, I think we wouldn't have been ready and it would have probably failed. That is definitely a lesson. Sometimes it's all about timing. But another lesson is we have to listen to our gut and say, we're doing this and we're doing it now. And this is how we're going to do it. And we need to try. Because if we don't try, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. That's another lesson.
Big one. So many people think about things. They want it to be perfect before they do it. And that's not entrepreneurship. You got to take a chance. And I'm not saying take a reckless chance, but you do have to make yourself vulnerable in some way and put yourself out there.
Listen to your gut. That's what I say. Would be my number 2. My number 3. It's okay to make mistakes and say you were wrong and learn from others and listen to others. And you're not always the expert on everything. There are people around you. And sometimes, in my case, it was my best friends, my cousin, it was literally my network around me that without them, this wouldn't have been possible. And it's backing everyone up within their expertise, even if it goes against your own thinking or logic. You think maybe this would work out this way, but just listen to the expert that is doing that.
There are other people in your family that you respect that have really been a part of this journey as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's fantastic. And you're so right. It's humbling when, I don't know, I think I've always kind of known this, but it never hurts to be reminded, like, there's so much I don't know. The older I get, the more comfortable I am with coming into a room saying, I actually don't know. Will you teach me?
I really don't know. Talk to me about this fruit. Like, why do we have to bring it in? I don't know.
Exactly. And I think when people are younger, I don't want to generalize, but I do remember myself being younger and wanting to come off as being very, knowledgeable and authoritarian, and such a waste of time, really. It's all ego. Before we let listeners know where they can find out more about you and your business, there are 2 questions I want to ask you. One is, what tips would you give to young women who want to be entrepreneurs today? Anything that you feel that you've learned kind of doing this for as many years as you have?
One tip is you're always learning. No matter how long you're doing this for, you're always learning, and it's okay. And you need to do it. And if you don't try to do it, then you'll never know if you could have done it, how you could have gotten better. Then you don't know those answers. I think you have to do it.
That's the biggest thing. And I would imagine too, doing it and then pivoting as you get more information.
Life is a pivot. Everything's about pivoting. You have to be able to pivot. If not, you're not going to better yourself and the company and everything.
How much of a pivot from your initial idea is what you have today in Tropical Fruit Box?
Well, my initial idea, we were going to source and ship only the fruits that we were currently providing to retailers, which was, let's say, a handful of fruits. But listening to customers, they wanted more than just a handful of fruits. Right now, we have about 80 different fruits that we offer, and they're all tropical exotic fruits. And initially, it was maybe 10.
And are you profitable?
Yes, of course.
The business is doing well. You're part of the business.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
This is like my silly question, but if you had one superpower, what would you want it to be?
If I could be in a bunch of places at the same time.
It's like if you could clone yourself.
Yes, if there could be like 10 of me everywhere.
I can relate to that.
That would be great.
That would be great. We get a lot done. You get 10 times the work done.
Yes.
But there's only one of you. And I want to thank you for coming on today. And where can our listeners find out more about your offerings?
Well, thank you so much, Doria, for having me. And well, you can go straight to our website at tropicalfruitbox.com. You find everything we have there.
I'm sure you have social media as well, newsletters, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's all on our website. And then our Instagram is Tropical Fruit Box USA. Everything's pretty much on our website.
This is your opportunity. Well, depending on when this episode comes out, I was going to say it's your opportunity to order pink, what was it?
Pineapple.
Pink pineapple for Valentine's Day, but I'm not sure. This will be out by then. So.
But it's Mother's Day too.
Mother's Day. What's your biggest seller for Mother's Day?
The pink pineapple gift box.
All right. There you go. That is an original gift.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to She Ventures. Like what you heard? You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and sign up for our newsletter so you never miss a show.